Welcome to YinRadioTV. I'm your host for tonight's show. I'm Rory Kelly Connor, and I'm the Love Queen. Thank you very much for joining me. This is my premiere show as a guest on this program. And I'm very excited to be here tonight to talk about something that's really passionate to me in both my life and my work. And basically tonight's show is entitled Only Love is Real. And it's the first in a series of 3 shows that I'll be doing where we'll be dedicating time to this topic. When we understand that only love is real, that all else, all unlove, is an illusion created by man, woman, by our society and our institutions in our society. When we understand that only love is real, we open up a gateway to an amazing self-love, to intimate and loving relationships, and a holy communion with God or Source or Universe, whatever you like to call it, and the energies of the divine. It is here within the true essence of love that we become and manifest what I call the true sexy. That place where human meets divine, the integration of all, where it's the mind, the body, the heart, and the soul, and the energy, the connectedness that we have to Source. Now, I want to start by saying that in this program tonight, I want to welcome everyone. All are welcome here, regardless of religion or dogma or race or sexuality or gender or politics. This is the place of love. Love is the universal language that connects all humanity to what is true and good in this world, what creates. It exists in all of us, no matter who or what we are or what we have done. You, each one of you, are worthy. You are worthy to know love, to be love, and to be loved. Let's start right there. You are love, beloved. I'm going to ask each of you to get comfortable wherever you are tonight with me. I want you to feel free to grab a notebook or a glass of water. You know, I want you to settle in, and I want you to just feel yourself letting go and bring a sense of love and peace and intimacy into our time here together. Let's set an intention. Let's focus our breath as we set the intention of love here tonight. For it is through our breath that we connect to all within and without, as above and so below, and our breath is what truly gives us life. So I'm going to ask each one of us, let's take a deep breath in. And allow yourself to receive in that breath all the love that I have prepared for you here tonight. And breathe it all out, all the stresses of your day and the misbeliefs that are blocking your receptivity. That's good. So good to get rid of that. Now take in another deep breath. Breathe it in. And let's move into suspending all the disbelief within us to love. And let it go as you breathe out. Ooh, that feels really good, doesn't it? Now one more time, because, you know, threes are trinities, which are very holy. Take a deep breath in, and I want you to consciously call in all the love you desire and all the love you are into your being, into awareness, igniting the way of love within you. And when you breathe out, I want you to breathe the fire of that love that you are out into the space all around you, creating a cocoon of love that will hold you as we move forward into the energy of love. That's why they call me the Love Queen. Feel that? That's love. And now I'm going to ask for my own self. Beloved, please be present within me, through me, as me, so I may reflect your words and your will and deliver a message of love that benefits all who are listening here now. May we all choose to hear love and speak love in our time together. forever and ever. Amen. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And whether you believe in God or not doesn't really matter, whether you're an atheist or, if you're very skeptical about that. It's the energy of love is something that we all feel regardless of any dogma that we bring to this, any religion, any beliefs. We can always feel that essence of love. So I ask that we just step into that. I remember when I came across the premise that only love is real, and that's what we're here to talk about. I was at a place and a time in my life where I was still somewhat heavy into my masculine energies and hadn't yet reclaimed fully the energies of my feminine, the softer energies, those loving, nurturing energies. And I was engaged very heavily into battle energy, which you may see all around us now, and fighting for causes, a lot of fighting to be right, fighting to be justified, fighting for change, fighting to make money, fighting, in relationships. I was fighting. A lot of ego and fighting. And I was far from the energy of love, and it was exhausting. And it was also often toxic. It didn't feel good. It didn't feel good to myself or others. And so I went on a journey to find out how could I move into love. And at the root of all the fighting, I felt the energy of fear, deep, deep fear. We define fear as false evidence appearing real. I had fear of failing, fear of injustice, fear of being wrong, fear of not having enough. Is this resonating? We all have these fears. Fear of losing something or someone that I wanted. Fear of being unworthy, not good enough. Fear of being hurt. Fear of being unlovable. Fear of people not liking me. Fear of letting go. Fear of not being pretty enough or rich enough, thin enough, safe enough, you name it. Fear was running the show. And the media were feeding my fear, and anyone with an agenda was trying to sell me something and playing into any of those fears. And I couldn't find a way out of the fear. Fighting has really truly become our new normal, to combat everything that we fear, and it doesn't resonate with love. We see it all around us, especially lately, in these divided times that we live in. Now, as I worked on myself and as I worked with clients over time, I noticed that the fear was an obstacle in every single instance where a person was struggling or unable to manifest what they desired. It was insidious. Fear was the major obstacle to healing and liberation in all cases, and it was debilitating and it was destructive. And I said to myself, well, that's not love. I must have said that to myself a million times. That's not love. I was consumed with finding a solution to this question, finding the antidote to fear to help my clients, to really heal fear. And the answer came repeatedly through meditation and using divine tools at my disposal, a message that rang true. Only love is real. I could feel the truth of it, even if it didn't really make sense to me. Only love is real. It was a puzzle I was committed to solving. I could literally feel the truth of it. So I had to ask myself, well, how could only love be real when there were terrible evils happening in our world? While human traffickers were selling children into sexual slavery, while greed was raping the world, while children starved and died from lack of care. How is love real? How is only love real while people were cruel and mean to each other and destructive to each other and to themselves? While everyone was fighting? While hearts were breaking? How could only love be real? Now, I explored these and many questions like them, and I continued to come back around to the words of Rumi, a 13th century Persian poet and a Sufi mystic regarded as one of the greatest spiritual masters and poets of our time. And he says, your task is not to seek for love, but merely to seek and find all the barriers within yourself that you have built against it. I want to say that again because it's really, really, really true. It's true wisdom that your task is not to seek for love, but merely to seek and find all the barriers, all of them, within yourself that you have built against it. And I knew that that is where we had to start. That was where the answer to this puzzle, only love is real, would start. And I began seeking for all the barriers to love within myself. Many who know me or have worked with me know that I went through a process of literally excavating every single thing within myself. It took me a while, but I want to share that. I want to share that what I've learned, so that you don't take as long as maybe I took to get there, and it is a process. But that is what really set me towards looking in how to moving into the energy of love, and from that place where everything is possible. Every barrier that I had built, or that we all build against love, was built on a lie, is what I found. A lie based in fear. And those thoughts, those fears became things, became density, made manifest. Sometimes what appeared, in many cases with different people, and sometimes even myself, to be insurmountable walls to love, to receiving love, giving love, and being love. Now, as you may know, you cannot solve a problem from within the same energy that created the problem. It never works. It always propagates what caused the problem in the first place. You get more of that. So instead of looking to understand from the framework of the problem, I began looking to understand from the perspective of the solution. I knew love was the answer, unconditional love. But still, how could I prove only love was real? We've heard a lot of different sayings that have become cliched, but we also feel the truth of them, about the nature of love. Things like love heals all wounds, love conquers all, love moves mountains, and true love never dies. These sayings have lasted through time because they are true. And there's a divine truth to these things. But ultimately what I had to do was I had to move into the energy of the divine. I had to connect the grounded human energies, real-world strategic thinking, to the energy of the divine, what I call the true sexy, to find the answer to the puzzle. And this is what I came up with. And I hope this helps you. We hear this, God is love, and God is eternal. You put those things together. If they're both true, then therefore love is eternal. If love is eternal, it can never die. It will last forever. Ergo, God lasts forever. And then my head went, aha, only love is real then. For what is real lasts forever. All the rest is a temporary state of consciousness and illusion and density. So I accepted that only love was real and moved into proving it again and again and again. And when I did that, I began removing all the obstacles to love within me. And as I began to remove each obstacle, each one by one, I realized that each of those was based on a belief or a thought or dogmatic principle or construct that was the opposite of love. In other words, illusions I had created in my mind or been taught that were a bunch of lies. They felt real, yet once I moved them into love, they were nothing. They were nothing. They were no longer real. Yet the love I infused into each relationship problem, each situation or challenge, was very, very real. And the more I loved, and the more that I worked with people and taught them how to move into love, the more liberating it was for all of us. Infusing abundant, amazing, joyful love. Fear didn't stand a chance in that energy. Not at all. Because under every problem was fear, and fear is the opposite of love. And by the way, hate is an expression of fear. Never works. Love is all about, let's talk about what love is. I think that's part of what is misunderstood is actually what is love. Love is all about faith. Love is trust and consciousness. Now, there are many levels of consciousness, but it is consciousness. At the mature levels of consciousness, there is truth and light, which instill trust and faith. Love is reverence. In other words, the energy of protect and respect. And there is no reason ever to fear or destroy what you revere. Doing so is insanity. Fear is an example of that insanity. I want to tell you a story about love. This is something that may resonate with you. I was working with a client who had made a mistake at work, and it set him into a panic. It was a simple mistake that had occurred because he was basically burnt out and exhausted from years at his job, working long days and nights and weekends. He'd been doing this for years, and his employer was not supportive or compassionate. In addition, his employer was also engaged in activities that somehow put the business at risk, things that were out of integrity, and some of which may or may not have been unlawful. All of this together had my client petrified with fear. He was afraid of losing his job. He was afraid of getting fired. He was afraid to lose his house if he lost his job. He was afraid of failure. He didn't want to fail and have to tell people that he had failed. He was afraid of not having enough money or being homeless. He was also petrified in fear at the power that his boss had over him, that the company had over him as if they owned him. And he was afraid that his reputation could be destroyed by this person, destroyed by lies. Fear was everywhere, and it was excruciating to him. Now, using the process that I created through the work of realizing that only love is real, and this is a process that is the premise of my first book, which I'm currently finishing the writing of. It's a process based on the premise that there's a healing power of unconditional love. We took that energy and we addressed every single fear that he had, every single one, by proving that each fear was an illusion. And we moved each fear into the energy of love. And I asked him, I said, if only love is real, what does love want from you around the job, around the house, around the boss? And he answered those questions over time. He got in tune with what he started to imagine. If he let go of the fear, what would be there? This is a man that is so filled with love and so beloved. He's so kind and generous, and everything that he does with love, he infuses it everywhere. And even with all that love pouring forth from him to the people that he worked with and that he knew, it was debilitating. He was debilitated by this fear. Now, at first, he felt victimized, and he wanted the company and the boss to change. And I moved him out of that. Move into love and take your power back. He didn't want to take that responsibility for being love in his own life. It was their fault. He was buying the fear, and fear was having its way with him. He was victimizing himself by believing in the illusion and refusing to stand in love and take his power back. No one was forcing him to stay there. They didn't own him. But he didn't believe it yet. He didn't believe that only love is real, and it was up to him to see it and be it. But yet eventually, working together, he started to crave that love, the love that I showed to him, the love that I talked about, that liberation, that energy that is joyful and amazing, filled with possibilities and expansion. That loving energy. And it pushed him to take a chance on love. So he took a chance and he embraced the notion that only love is real. Guiding him to let go of everything that was not love in his life I have to say, he was amazing. He quit his job. He sold the house. He moved in with a friend, and he took temporary work. And he practiced day by day by day, staying in love. When he would move out of love, he'd move back into love. He'd take himself into love. Yes, the fear was a habit that he had to work hard to break. Yet he kept on practicing it, stepping into faith and consciousness, trusting the universe to hear him clearly and provide. To hear him clearly because he was letting go of everything in his life that wasn't love, that didn't feel like love, that was not love. And in this case, it was self-love. He was not practicing self-love. And it was like magic what happened to him then. You see, in love, he was receptive. He was able to actually have the courage to ask for help and then actually have the courage to receive it. And it came. Love came. Love came in such a way that he would share it, and we would stand back, and we would be in awe at how loving the universe responded with love. The community literally rose up around him and provided a really good job for him. It aligned with who he was and where he wanted to be going. There was an apartment complex that he had dreamed of living in. He went, and immediately there was a studio available. They put him in. His house he put up for sale, and it sold in weeks. And not only that, but the buyer even wanted to purchase his furniture. Every single thing that wasn't love, that was density, that was holding him back from everything that he wants to be and where he wants to move forward to, everything. Every situation was being resolved. Every density was being removed. He was free of debt. He had a job. And he was free of an old job and a boss from hell. By moving into love, by embracing self-love, and that only love is real, every single obstacle to love dropped away, and love poured all over his life. Only love is real. This is the power of God, and it's yours too, if you want it. Now, I'm hoping this is resonating with you now, because this is something that's really hard when you're struggling to deal with this, to deal with the concept of it, and you want to find a solution outside of yourself, instead of looking in. But it is within that we find that place, that love that is us, and it starts right there. I want to take a moment to tune into the energy of love. And I want you to focus on a problem or a challenge that you might be having right now. Think about it. Take a moment to think about what that is. And if you have a notebook and you want to write that down, and you want to write down, whatever it is and describe it, take a moment to do that. And if you don't have a notebook, then just imagine in your mind something that you've been struggling with. Maybe it's something that's been recurring. Maybe it's a relationship that has been combative, or it's challenging, that hasn't always felt like love, but it's been a relationship maybe that you want or you don't want. Or maybe it's a job that you loathe. That comes up a lot. People hate their jobs and they want to move into something else, or they want to solve it. Or maybe it's a lack of financial security and you're very stressed out trying to figure out a way out of this situation. Or maybe it's a betrayal by a loved one. Maybe somebody let you down or hurt you. And maybe your heart is broken. Maybe you come to this because your heart is broken, or it's breaking right now as we speak. Now tune into that and take a few moments and write that down, or think about what that is and how it feels. And if you need to, take a breath and just relax into this. Allow it to come through even if it's painful. Now ask yourself, where is the fear? Where's the fear in this challenge or this situation or this problem that you're facing? What is the fear? And maybe it's not just one fear. Maybe it's several different fears attached to this one thing. Feel that. Move into that. And then tune into who's in power in that fear. Who do you feel has the power in that fear? Is it the job? Is it the boss? Is it the company? Is it the husband or the wife or the lover or the friend? Is it the ex-husband, the ex-wife? Is it the bank account? What is it? Now, what words come up when you think about that fear? What words? And what feelings do you feel? What are attached to the problem? Is there anger? Is there hate? Is there guilt? Is there shame? And usually when we're feeling fear, we're feeling some kind of other attachment to some other feeling. Feelings that, if you look into it on the map of consciousness, David R. Hawkins in his book Power versus Force talks about the map of consciousness. Fantastic resource to use to move your energies. But within that, these are the lower energies: shame and guilt and fear and anger, self-loathing. What are you feeling there? Tune into them for a moment. Now, let's remember that when we tune into any problem, especially if there's anger around it or whatever lower energy is there, there's always fear under those energies. And under fear is always pain. So it's like all attached together. Now I want you to tune into that pain, but while you're doing that, kind of rise above it. And I want you to look for the love. Where's the love? Is it within the situation anywhere? Is there love in a relationship? Is there love in the passion you have for the work you do at your job? Is there a love of your freedom that has kept you actually from taking a job that would give you the financial security you need, or moving forward into maybe a business that you have that you've been afraid of? You're afraid you're going to lose something by moving into that. Look for the love. And if you can't find the love in the situation, look for the love in yourself. Where's the love in you? Is love present within that fear? Yes or no? Is there any reverence there? Is there trust there? Is there faith there? Is there respect? Is there protection? Those are the energies of love. Now, if you've come up with an answer and it says there's no love there, then how can we move these situations into the energies of love? Into self-love, into loving relationship, into love for all people. This is the work that Rumi talked about, removing obstacles within us. So within us first, to love. It's why we're here. To remember who we are, who we really are. We are love. We are children of the Creator and therefore love. Yet in our human divine state, we are called upon to remember that only love is real. So how do we do this? By choosing love, by rising to love, and staying in love over and over and over again. Even when we are met repeatedly by the opposite of love, it starts with us. We are the love. It's all about getting real, and only love is real. So how are you feeling? What's coming up for you? Take a breath. If you're feeling really stressed and you're feeling like this is overwhelming, I want you to take a breath. Because it's a lot to take on ourselves, the responsibility that we are the obstacle to love within our life. that we don't have, if we don't have the loving relationships we want or a job that loves us well by paying us well and giving us the work that we love to do, if we don't have a business that we want to be thriving, these are obstacles to love. If we can't forgive someone, if we're engaged in fighting and battle energy all the time with someone, these are obstacles to love. And we have the ability to change that. And it's a choice. One of the things that Christ said was, go and sin no more. And I have always found that very provocative. And whether or not you believe in Christianity or Christ, Christ's message is a loving message. And it's one that has stood the test of time. And he says, go and sin no more. And I know that he knew that sin, as truly defined, was any choice that is the opposite of love. It's not something that, we get punished for. I mean, there will be consequences. And we're going to take the hit, which is never easy. But we always have a choice to choose love or choose the opposite of love, which is fear, which is sin, which is whatever words you want to define it, but always we have a choice. So what are you choosing? I'm going to ask you right now, take a look at your life. What are you choosing or doing or being that is not love in your life? What is not love? What is not love? Love is who you are. Love is who I am. Love is who everyone in this world is. What are you doing or choosing or being that is not love? You can always choose to be love, and love will respond. I want to take a moment to take you through a meditation, a cleansing and visioning experience at this point, okay? So please close your eyes, get comfortable, whatever makes sense. I don't know where you are at this time, whether you're sitting in a chair, or you're in a bed, if you're laying down, depending on what time of day or night it is, or you're just at a desk, wherever you may be. I want you to get comfortable and close your eyes and take a breath. Imagine that you're walking through a dense forest. You can hear music in the distance, and you're walking towards that music. And there's all these green leaves all around you, and you're brushing through the tree branches to get to the music. Eventually, after walking a little while, you come out and you see this beautiful temple. Beautiful. Marble columns. Something like you've never seen before. And there are steps there, and you walk up the steps slowly. And there's a door there, and it's just gently ajar. You push it open, and you hear the music from within. The most beautiful music you've ever heard before. And you walk in, and you're met with the most beautiful garden you've ever seen. Beautiful flowers of every color, butterflies, and beautiful birds. You can hear the birds chirping. And the smells are intoxicating. You've never been anywhere like it. And this music, this beautiful music, is all around you. And there you see off across the way this beautiful woman with flowing hair, wearing the most beautiful flowing garment. In your favorite color. And she's beautiful, and she's walking towards you, and she smiles at you. And she comes up and takes your hand. And she guides you to a stairway. Now imagine it, see it, there you are. You're going down the stairs, slowly going down, around and around, slowly. And she's holding your hand, and her hand is soft. And she turns back and smiles at you. And you can feel so peaceful, and you can feel that she's so loving. She takes you down, around, around, around. And you continue to go, and you trust. You have faith that she's going to lead you somewhere that you want to be. And you go down, and down, and down. And as you go down, and as you move down, she's dropping off pieces of her garment as if it's like the 7 veils. So she's just dropping them down until you see them. Then she's in the sheath, and she's so beautiful, and she's so loving as she takes your hand. And you exit out of the stairway, and you walk out, and there's this beautiful flowing river. It's the most beautiful thing you've ever seen. And she takes your hand and she pulls you into the flow. And there you are together. And she wraps her arms around you. And she kisses you. And she says, "My name is love." Feel that. Feel that. Now imagine that all the cares that you have are floating away. That situation that's so challenging you've now left behind. You've moved down into this most beautiful place that you allowed yourself to go. You walked away from everything that was fear, painful, and you moved into the energy of the feminine, into the energy and the flow of love. And love is kissing you. Love is loving you and embracing you, and it's all around you. You feel it. You can smell it. You can taste the kiss. And everything within you feels clean, renewed, expansive, infinite, and divine. And yet you can feel your body. You can feel the love that you are. And it's heaven on earth. Feel that. Breathe it in. Breathe it in and feel that love. Feel it. Feel her. You are love. And then together, you dive deep into the water, hand in hand. And eventually, the two of you become one. You are love. You are loved. You are the beloved. Feels pretty good, doesn't it? Love is who you are. So now I want to take you back up. You come to a place where you feel your body. You're feeling your arms and your legs. Relax yourself into yourself again. And know that the place that you just went and the place that you felt, the experience that you had, is just as real as all of the fear, the situations that are holding you back from what you want, from happiness, from love. Now, taking this energy that you felt and where you were with that energy, go back and think about, with new eyes, see with the new eyes that you now have that only love is real, feeling what you felt there, the freedom and the liberation that you allowed yourself to experience in this moment with us tonight. Feel that. And infuse that into the challenge or the situation or problem that you brought to mind. You have the power to change that by moving into the energy of love. Everything else is an illusion. The problem's an illusion that you were giving density and power to. Infuse love. And watch the problem change. I'll give you another example of love in action, and this idea that power of love to make everything possible in our lives when we actually move into that, we choose it. Recently, one of my clients and a dear friend said to me, she was struggling with some work issues, and she said to me, you always bring love to the table. You always remind me that only love is real, to stay in love, to rise into love. That whenever you move into fear, you immediately move out of love, but you can get right back there. Just consciously go back there. And she said, I've got to tell you, I've been practicing that and doing that. And she said, it's amazing when you move into love, or you find a person who knows what that is and takes you there and reminds you and showers that love upon you. It's amazing when you feel loved like that, how you feel like you can do anything. How great is that? And that is the energy that we can all bring to our lives, to the work that we do, to our interactions in this world, in our work, at our jobs, in our experiences on social media, in how we relate to the unlove that's happening in our world all around us. We can be the love that we want to see in the world. It starts with us. Now, a very, very good dear friend of mine, someone who taught me a lot about consciousness in my journey, a dear friend, his name was Harold, and he was one of the best coaches that I've ever known. And we happened to be colleagues, and we developed a friendship, and we used to just get together and have these conversations about love. And he was very dear to me, and he died last year. But what he shared with me was a story about the love that he had in his life with his wife, who had passed away, who happened to have multiple sclerosis. And he described a lot of his journey to me, and he had a very challenging childhood at times and some other challenges that he had in life and work that he had to move through. He had a lot of fear around those things. And then he met his wife, Sandy, the woman that became his wife. She was at first a colleague, and they used to work together. And then eventually they became more. And this was the first person in his life who had ever loved him unconditionally. No matter what it was, he was able to show all of his scars and his wounds, all of the pain and the fear, everything. He was able to fully open in vulnerability to this woman. And she welcomed all of it with love. No judgment. With love. She knew that only love was real. And for the first time, he knew this kind of love. And it changed him. Love is the most powerful force in the universe. And even if you just love one person, it can be enough. Love one person well. Not long after they got married, she was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, and they didn't think that she would have very long to live. Meanwhile, her body started to degenerate over time, and if anyone's familiar with the process of that disease, it's a very horrible thing. You know, the muscles go, and then the bodily functions eventually go, and it's very, very tough to deal with. But Sandy, in this love that he was able then to give back to her, a love that he had never known before, he learned how to love unconditionally by being loved unconditionally. And they had this relationship, and she was able to fight the disease for a very long time. What they thought might be a year or two ended up being 10. And in the process, this man used every cent that he had to take care of her. He became a full-time caretaker and did absolutely everything, hands-on, in the essence of love, for this woman who loved him unconditionally. That is the power of love. That is the power of love. That's real. That's everlasting. That was a deep, deep love. And I've never forgotten the story of that, how that love changed everything, and what he was able to do as a human being to rise into love and move into love, despite how very hard it is to deal with being a caretaker to someone that's that ill for that long, but not regretting it. And literally, I remember him telling me, and I know he would be okay with me sharing this now, but I remember him weeping when he told me how he literally, even when it got to the end, to her last breath, he didn't want her to leave. He did not want her to leave because she was love. She was love to him. And they loved each other unconditionally. Oh, be still my heart. That's love. Everything is possible with love. Everything. Amazing things are possible with love. So if we start within ourselves and we go to that place of love and we realize that the rest is the illusion and we just move towards love and we stop fighting and we stop fighting love, we stop believing that the battle is more important or more real, and we instead focus on the solutions possible through love, everything is possible. Everything that we desire is possible. The unlove is a propagation of unlove. The only thing that will ever stop the horrors of this world, the things that people describe as evil, will be by moving into the energy of love, starting with ourselves, removing all obstacles within us, and then teaching people how we did it. And it never stops. But it's a conscious choice to rise into that and be that, even when it's hard. And I'm not going to tell you that I've mastered it yet. I'm getting closer. I'm doing it faster. I get out of it. I get in. I get out faster. You know, with some people, faster than others. But I'm there. I've gotten it down. I've figured out how the muscle works. And it does work, and it's amazing how it feels for me and how it feels with my relationships and the choices that I make in relationship and the choices I'm making in my life and what is attracting. It is the magic of the universe, this love. And so I would like to read, before we close the show, I'd like to share a short piece that I wrote. But I want to make note that we will be continuing our conversation, our exploration of Only Love is Real, and Lesson 2 and 3. Lesson 2, the next session the next show will be on August 16th at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here at YinRadioTV. And I do want to, before I go on, I want to tell you can subscribe at YouTube so you don't miss any of these shows. So please do that. And we will be taking, in the next show, in Lesson 2, we'll be taking this conversation deeper into an exploration of this concept around love and relationship and boundaries. So don't miss that. And also note that if you want to find out more about me, how to work with me directly, or explore my writing, and to look out for an upcoming compilation of meditations that I'll be releasing, please do visit my website at rorykellyconnor.com. But now I want to finish with a piece that I wrote called Evolving to Love. It's basically a call to action. And, of course, it's up to you after this conversation that we're having tonight. If you want to keep moving forward toward love and answer the call in this piece. So, Evolving to Love. In a world challenged by the destructive results of abuse of power, patriarchy, and cultural dogma, many men and women are struggling to make sense of it all. They are wondering why the old ways don't seem to work anymore. They are finding themselves increasingly alone and feeling misunderstood. They feel guilty for wanting something else filled with passion, purpose, sensual richness, and connection. Mind-numbed by massive amounts of self-help maps and mantras, religious and political imperatives, lobbyists and corporate manipulations, they find themselves half awake and lost in the woods. Evidence that the world is broken is everywhere, in our countries, economies, societies, relationships, jobs, and our homes, and especially in our hearts and minds. The pain level is high. Hearts are broken in disillusionment and dogma. Minds are clogged and overwhelmed with a million contradictory thoughts that leave people in circles. And many feel trapped or stuck. People are stressed out with a constant need to win, be perfect, fit in, look good, feel good, be happy, and follow the rules. These and many more bits of dogma and self-help salesology, as I like to call them, otherwise known as spin, have diminished and confused the authentic self within us so much so that people are indeed lost in the maze. In their businesses and careers, in their relationships and lives, they are lost to themselves and lost to each other. They are lost to the intimate and holy connection and relationship that we all inherently crave, instead of feeling happy and more empowered. People are feeling more imperfect, more unworthy, and more not enough. I mean, more is not always more, if you know what I mean. This is why the desire, or more accurately, the craving for clarity is constant in almost every call for help. People are frustrated and lost, and they are angry. They are afraid, and they are ashamed, and they are crying out for support and unconditional love. Why do so many people feel alone and lost? We have forgotten that we each belong to each other. We have forgotten what love is. Ergo, the increasing disillusionment. For only love is real. Many people have learned new ways of thinking and dive deep into the self-help and empowerment zones. And that is good in some ways because they've awakened in consciousness and learned how to silence the mind. Yet still they feel the pain and loneliness and confusion of misalignment and disconnection with a fractured world and a fractured people. For in making the mind king, they have lost heart. And love then has lost its home. Now, more than ever, is the time when we are called to forge a new way of being. This is the time of evolving to love. Thank you for listening tonight to Yin Radio TV. It's been my pleasure to be here with you. I hope you'll join us at a future show. Again, August 16th is the next show, the next lesson. And remember, please move into love, choose love, and be love. Only love is real. Thank you. I'm Rory Kelly Connor, the Love Queen.